Now 6 p.m. Our regular city council meeting for February 4th, 2020 is now in session. I have the honor today to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the opening prayer. God Almighty, as the sun rises each morning, you shine the light on our souls. We give you thanks for the new day and the opportunity to make a difference in our community. Father God, when you gather the clouds to nourish the land, we ask that you sprinkle your blessings on our community and give us the wisdom today to make the wise decisions that will strengthen our community. And Father God, when the sun sets, we thank you for the blessings that we lived another day and the blessings to see the sun rise again the next day. In your name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, first item on the agenda is the Mayor Pro Temp. Our City Secretary, Brenda Dennis, will provide the oath of office to our council member, Mark Davis.
You will raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mark Davis,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of Mayor Pro Tem
of the office of Mayor Pro Tem
for the City of Schertz
for the City of Schertz,
and will to my best ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the constitutional laws of the United States
the constitutional laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of the state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. We'll proceed. Next is employee recognitions, animal services.
Evening, Mayor, Council, and Dr. Brown. It's my honor tonight to introduce our latest addition to Animal Services. It's Bernice Phillips. She joined us on January the 6th as a part-time kennel technician. She's been a wonderful addition, does fantastic work, very reliable. Prior to coming to us, she served 24 years in the United States Air Force. She is a retired first sergeant. She also, up until last night, was a part-time crisis intervention counselor at the Rape Crisis Center in San Antonio, where she's staying on as a volunteer now, or they're trying to convince her to. She's married. She has 3 children, 2 of which are in college. One is in middle school, or excuse me, one is in college, right? Yeah, sorry. Her husband is active duty, currently stationed in San Angelo. So she splits time between San Angelo here and Corpus Christi, where she has a child in college, which is, I think, why she's only part-time. Yes. She was born and raised in Brownsville, Texas, and she also has a master's degree in psychology. So, wonderful addition to the team.
Well, welcome aboard. The mic's yours if you'd like to say a few comments.
I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Welcome to our team.
Thank you.
All right. We have a couple of presentations. There are proclamations. There's 2 of them. I'll go up to the podium and read these. I'd like to invite our rodeo ambassadors to please join me up here. The City of Schertz proclamation, official rodeo season, and let's rodeo San Antonio. Whereas February 6, 2020 marks the kickoff of the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo, San Antonio's largest single event. And whereas the San Antonio Livestock Expedition Incorporated is a volunteer organization that emphasizes agriculture and education to develop the youth of Texas. And whereas, since the inception of the San Antonio Livestock Expedition Incorporated scholarship programs, $210 million has been committed to the youth of Texas in the forms of scholarships, grants, endowments, auctions, calf scramble programs, and show premiums. And whereas, during the 2020 event, over 1.9 million visitors attended the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. Whereas the lifeblood of the organization are the over 6,000 dedicated volunteers and its corporate partners and patrons who understand the importance of agriculture and value quality family entertainment. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the City of Schertz, through its mayor, Ralph Gutierrez, and the City Council, hereby recognize and proclaim February 6th through the 23rd, 2020, as the official rodeo season, and February 6, 2020, as the official Dress Western San Antonio Day. And we call upon the people of the City of Schertz to join us in supporting the activities and the mission of the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo to support the youth of Texas. I will turn the mic over to our rodeo ambassadors for a few words.
Thank you. Yes, we are the ambassadors from the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. One of our main functions is to promote the scholarships. This year we have been allotted $12.6 million for scholarships. I'm sure that Schertz and Guadalupe County has seen us around promoting scholarships for the youth, but we have visited with them with the Cibolo Creek Ag Group, the Clemens Ag Group. We've been to Navarro. We have been to the Guadalupe Show just recently, and that's how we promote scholarships. We advise the students in their junior year to start documenting all the good things that you do in the neighborhood. If you show cattle, if you help a neighbor, if you clean Grandpa's barn, make sure that you make note of it. Our judges want to see you be active in the community. So I guess I'm speaking more to parents now than the youth. But we enjoy what we do. Starting Thursday, we'll be out there. And I also encourage you, if you come out, go to the barns, show barns, and visit with these kids. They will love to talk to you, and they have some stories to tell. Thank you very much.
You put over here on this side?
We want everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, dust off those boots and buckle up and enjoy the rodeo. Next, we have also a proclamation for President George Washington's Day. Mr. Jones, if you'd like to join me up here. The City of Schertz Proclamation, President George Washington's Day. Whereas the United States of America was established following the War of the Revolution from 1776 to 1783, a war won through the brilliant and courageous leadership of George Washington, revered as the father of our nation. And whereas George Washington, who lived from 1732 to 1799, mobilized the Continental Army and led the American colonies against the most powerful country in the world, finally defeating the British at the famous Battle of Yorktown, Virginia. And whereas this revered founder of our nation resisted the efforts of many supporters to make him a king or dictator, instead using his influence and his power to support the creation and the adoption of the Constitution of the United States. And whereas George Washington was elected as the first president of the United States, serving 2 terms of office from 1789 to 1797, and through his devotion, wisdom, and vision, became an exemplar of distinguished leadership for all future presidents. And whereas the William Hightower chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution and the local chapter number 35 wishes to encourage all citizens to recognize the contributions of George Washington to our nation by celebrating his birthday on Saturday, February 22nd, 2020. Now, therefore, I, Ralph Gutierrez, by virtue of the authority invested in me as the mayor of the city of Schertz, do hereby proclaim February 22nd, 2020 as President George Washington Day, and call upon all citizens of Schertz to recognize and honor the brilliance, courage, and vision of the father of our nation, and the relevance of his life to the preservation of our democracy in today's complex world. Mr. Jones, if you'd like to add a few words. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm very honored to be here this evening to represent our chapter and also our national society of the Sons of the American Revolution. I want to thank Schertz for issuing this proclamation celebrating the 288th birthday of a courageous general and the founding father of our country. His leadership, dedication, and unwavering ability to command our patriots in the dark days of the Revolution and the Revolutionary War that ended in a great victory, and in establishing our beloved country with the freedoms that we enjoy today, is beyond any honor we can give to George Washington. Thank you again, and may God bless Schertz, our great state of Texas, and the United States of America. Thank you.
We're going to go up here to the podium. Turn it on. There we go. We'll proceed with the introduction of the student mayor and student council members for the day. Our secretary, Ms. Brenda Dennis, will provide a brief summary of the program and introduce our participants.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens, and students. What a great day we had. I wanted to let you know that we have expanded the program to the Founders Classical Academy students. So we had 2 new participants today from that school. You know, this could not be done without so many people volunteering to help. You know, the fire department, the police department, the EMS department. Today we had a great presentation done by the Public Affairs Department, and I want to thank Linda Klepper and Devin Flores. You know, we always have IT in the background. We had executive management representation, Mr. Assistant City Manager Brian James, Mayor Gutierrez was here, Council Members Hayward and Dalla were here. Mayor, if you don't mind, maybe we could see if we could have the students introduce themselves, their name, and where they're from, and maybe say something that maybe they learned a little bit today.
Exactly.
Put y'all on the spot.
If you could just move the mic over so you can go ahead and speak, and then introduce yourselves and tell us what you learned about our small session today.
We'll start with, how about let's start with the mayor for the day.
Okay,
Let's
yes.
start with her. Announce who you are.
My name is Niana Schaefer. I go to Dobie Junior High, and today something that I learned was that the different departments, such as the fire department and police department, work with the council on funding, and I learned there are more things than what meets the eye.
Hello, I'm Palmer Hoekstra, and I'm from Founders Classical Academy of Schertz. And today, as you know, I took place in part of the mock student council meeting today. I learned a lot about the EMS department, the PDA, and the fire department. We got to go on tours and experience it. And we also got to experience what it was like being on the city council, which was really cool. And we got to learn about how they work and a lot of the problems that they deal with.
Hello, I'm Francesca Brownsberger. I go to Founders too, and I didn't know about the process of the city council meeting until today, and I really appreciated learning about it. It was very interesting to find out what we as a city decide on and the importance of thinking those decisions through. You can never know if it could affect you in the long run, and how many people could later be thinking, this is a good idea, or what in the world were they thinking? Furthermore, I realized that there is a great amount of pressure riding on the council members and mayor, because I was even scared of making decisions earlier when it didn't even matter.
Hi, my name is Zoe Paul. I'm a student at Corbett Junior High, and today I got to learn about how all of the different departments and people work together to make our city's government run. And I mean, even the police department has very complex, different, like they have their own dispatch, and the jail is interesting, and it's just all very crazy, and it's very interesting, and I think it's fascinating to see how they can all manage to make it work so well, despite their differences and disagreements.
Hello, my name is Evalea Pitolo, and what I learned, first I'm from Dobie Junior High. What I learned today is how a meeting works. I learned that there's more than just the basics of an EMS or the fire department or the police department. I learned how many different jobs there are and how they all work together, and I learned how to be a city council member. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mayor, if I could have you and Dr. Brown join me downstairs, and we'll call the students up. We'd like to give you a little certificate of appreciation and a plaque. Mayor, they may have homework, so we may want to release them, you know.
We'll continue with the city events and announcements. First is the announcements of upcoming city events. Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This Thursday on February 6th is going to be the Trail Rider Lunch at Pickerel Park, the large pavilion, at 11 o'clock. On Saturday, February 8th, two events going on. First in the morning is the Nature Discovery Series that takes place at Crescent Bend Nature Park at 10 a.m. And then in the evening is going to be the Swim and S'mores event at the Schertz Aquatic Center, and that is from 6 to 8 p.m. We'll be back here next Tuesday, February 11th, for our next regular city council meeting at 6 p.m. And then finally, our Parks Department wanted us to let you know that the second annual Daddy-Daughter Dance is coming up soon, and it will be on Friday, February 21st from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Schertz Civic Center. Tickets are on sale, and they are going fast. So if you're interested in going, you can go to the Schertz.com website, or you can give the Parks Department a call at 619-1850. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, announcements and recognitions by our city manager, Dr. Brown.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. We'll continue with announcements and recognitions by the mayor. I have nothing. So we'll go down to the hearing of residents. The hearing of residents is, each person is limited to 3 minutes, and we ask before addressing the council, for the record, please state your name and address. First on the list is Jordan de la Garza.
Good evening. How are y'all? My name is Jordan de la Garza. I'm the district field director for Monica de la Cruz Hernandez for Congress. She wished she could be here right now, but she's actually in D.C. meeting with people wishing to endorse and fund for us. Just wanted to say who she is. She's actually the only candidate that lives in district, meaning she's the only candidate that can vote for herself. She's been born and raised in the McAllen area, meaning she understands the issues with border security. Border Patrol needs help and support. Immigration reform needs to be taken care of on a bipartisan issue. She's very adamant on helping the Border Patrol, which is why we've gotten endorsed by the National Border Patrol, as well as Sid Miller, CMC Steel, and other endorsements. So we have a lot of good things going for us. From being in the South, above Live Oak is all red after we run primaries, meaning we're going to work very, very hard to win Hidalgo County. We only need to win 36% of Hidalgo County. Having said that, she's a very successful businesswoman in the area, and a lot of people know her and her last name. So we're very confident that we can go after those Democrat and independent swing voters and for the first time turn this into a Republican district in over 100 years. So we're on a big momentum. She understands the culture and Spanish. She moved up here in Seguin. She moved to RV in Seguin to know the people in the North and the South, because it's two completely different worlds. She wants to hear everyone's voice and wants to get everyone involved. And so I just ask for your vote in early voting. Thank you.
Next is Arnold S. Zwicky.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to come before you tonight. I wanted to come in and say hello to those of you that I do know and to introduce myself to some of those that I don't. I'm your sheriff for Guadalupe County. I've been honored to be your sheriff for the 19 plus years now. looking for another term as Guadalupe County Sheriff. To give you a little bit about myself, I grew up in Marion, started my career in emergency services back in 1975, my senior year in school, joining the Marion Volunteer Fire Department. Later, I became a paid fireman for the city of Seguin, EMT. And then later, New Berlin Volunteer Fire Department, a total of 20 years in the fire service. In 1992, I went to work for the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office, and in 2000, I was asked to run for sheriff. And I don't need to tell y'all how the city and county has grown. I remember back in high school and after high school, I would come out and ride with the Schertz Police Department when there was just one guy out at night, when the police station was the old house here by the Senior Citizen Center. So Gene Schoonover was the chief, so it's been a long time ago. You've grown, we've all grown. I'm proud of the partnership with law enforcement in the county. We've come a long way. Our narcotics unit has been very busy in the West End the last 5 years, doing what they do best, making a lot of stride. I take a lot of pride in it when the drug dealers are telling them we can't come to Guadalupe County. It's too hot over there. I like that. So we get them to come right to the edge and sometimes right across that Bexar County line, but it's been working good. I'm looking for ways to offset the taxes ever since I got in office. Our jail, I commend the men and women in that jail. Our jail passes the inspection every year. We've taken in over right at $36 million to offset the taxes by housing out-of-county prisoners. So I'm proud of those guys. Our animal control, I don't call it a no-kill shelter, although it meets the requirements. The last 5 years, we've had 91% redemption rate. However, we know we need to put some of those feral dogs down, and therefore I won't call it a no-kill because we have to put those animals down, unfortunately. With that, looking at the offsetting the taxes, the forfeiture, going after the bad guys with the forfeitures, we're starting on our $5 million in forfeiture since I took office, so I'm pretty proud of that. We have a lot of specialized units in Guadalupe County. We all know mental health is a crisis here. We have a mental health unit that works hand in hand with Bluebonnet Mental Health in Seguin. I sit on the executive board for 8 counties, trying to find better ways to combat that problem. SWAT negotiations team, we're here for you. And the list goes on and on. A license and weight unit to combat the big trucks that when the oil boom hit south of us. And many, many others. And I know I got 3 minutes and the bell hasn't rang yet, but I'm here to ask you for your vote tonight. I guess to sum up best about the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office in the last 20 years, going on 20 years, is to take a look at the Uniform Crime Report that we send to the FBI every year. We started a chart years ago with the one chart is the population continually going up and our crime is going down. So I'm proud of the men and women of Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office. Look forward to continue working with y'all, and thanks for having me tonight.
Thank you, Sheriff. We'll proceed with Jacqueline Phillips-Ott.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilmen, and women. My name is Jacqueline Phillips-Ott. I've had the opportunity to meet some of you and not some of you, so it's good to see some faces for the first time. I am one of the prosecutors in the Guadalupe County Attorney's Office, which is formerly the Guadalupe District Attorney's Office, also known as the 25th Judicial District Attorney's Office. And I am running for District Judge in the 25th Judicial District. That election is a March primary only, as we don't have a person in another party running. I'm running as a Republican. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and elaborate a little bit on what's important to me and why I'm running for this position. I'm from Houston originally, grew up there, been working on Republican campaigns since 1998. I have an aunt who's not my blood aunt, but an aunt nonetheless, who's been running and hasn't been a judge since 1992, recently retired at the beginning of this year. My dad ran his first campaign in 1998. He also retired as a district judge at the beginning of this year. I have been working with domestic violence prime victims and families since I was very young. I got dropped off at my first domestic violence shelter when I was 8 years old with some bottles of nail polish and told to paint everyone's nails and call when I was done. And then I wouldn't be done within the next 5 hours because we knew there was a lot of work to do. Ever since then, that's always been a calling to me, is working with people that don't have the ability to initially help themselves. I have 3 siblings that are police officers, 2 in Houston, 1 in New Braunfels. We are really proud of them. Everybody else in my family has pretty much gone to the military in some form or fashion. My mother was a prison minister. So I've been involved in some type of way of government and service my entire life. I worked for a long time in the court system. My dad developed a juvenile mental health court that was run in Harris County that received the Harris County and South Texas Police Award in the early 2000s. I helped work with him, with people my age, to help develop that. He also was the administrative judge for all of the juvenile and CPS cases in Houston, both civil and criminal, and worked closely with police officers as well. Followed that path. I went to Texas A&M, got a business degree, didn't use it, went to law school, and ever since then I've been working really hard for public service. I always knew I wanted to do that. I do what I've always wanted to do, so this is, in a sense, myself working my dream job and working to achieve even more with that. When I was in law school, I worked for a long time with different types of law to try to figure out what I wanted to do. I've done a lot of civil work. I've done some criminal defense. Right out of law school, I worked for a gang and narcotics task force in Southwest Houston. It was very intense. Seeing a lot of the stuff that goes on here, I can tell you that we are so blessed to have a community like we do in Guadalupe County and in Schertz. I myself live outside of New Braunfels. I work in Seguin, but I am the prosecutor that comes out to Schertz as well. So I've gotten to know this community pretty well over the last couple of months, couple of years. I also, through my time in the DA's office after private practice, which I had in Houston, came out to work in Comal County. They had a CPS unit there, and I came to run that unit. They wanted somebody that has done CPS, and I've worked with CPS in some form or fashion for a long time. Not only just in private practice, but as a person that would go and represent children and to make sure they were in appropriate care and foster care, do reporting to the courts, work with Drug Endangered Children Task Force in Houston and law enforcement and CPS to make sure that we're doing what we can to ensure that these children get a good opportunity when they're working through the system and that they have the tools they need to become successful adults when they age out. Hopefully we can get those people adopted, get the children adopted, and get them involved with communities, but if they can't, they have to have the tools they need to make sure that they're productive citizens in this community. So that's been a big part of my work my whole life. I came over to Comal County. I worked and ran the CPS division there. We had a really successful time. I tried almost 90 cases in 15 months, which was crazy. But we had a great time. I went out on a lot of the investigations myself, worked with new investigators on how to collect evidence, what to do, questions to ask, assisted on every single forensic interview on a case that I had for those several years in Comal County, helped ask questions, helped officers testify, etc. And it was a 24-hour on-the-clock job. Guadalupe County in 2014 started a program that had that job, but they wanted a person to be incorporated into working and trying the corresponding felony cases. So those cases are your sex abuse cases, sex trafficking, physical abuse, cases where you need doctors to come testify, severe medical neglect, children that are drug endangered, and children that are associated with Mexican mafia crimes. I jumped on that opportunity, came to Guadalupe County in 2014. I've been working in the DA's office or county attorney's office ever since. I've met some wonderful people. I've had the opportunity to work every single job in my office, with the exception of Commissioner's Court, because the gentleman that's there really loves it, but I've been able to sit and assist with him and talk with him about those duties as well. I've practiced and tried or worked with every single type of case that comes before the court that I'm running for, and I believe myself to be a very well qualified person to do that. I understand what appropriate judicial temperament is. I understand efficiency. I understand how to go in and make sure that people feel respected while they're conducting their business. I have a great respect for law enforcement, and I'm also a very fiscally conservative person, so I understand the importance of making sure that our taxpayer dollars stay down while we're still embracing the growth that this community is going to see and has been seeing for several years. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, we'll continue with consent agenda items. Item number 1, approval of the minutes for special meeting of January 24, 2020, and the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on January 28, 2020. Item number 2, accepting the resignation of Rick Haynes from the Board of Adjustments due to his appointment on the Planning and Zoning, and the appointment of Mr. John Sellers as the alternate member on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Item number 3, Resolution number 20R15, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, amending the Schertz Main Street Area Preservation Incentive Program, City of Schertz, Texas, and related matters in connection therewith. Item number 4, ordinance number 20S02, an ordinance by the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, amending the official zoning map by rezoning approximately 2 acres of land from General Business District, GB, to Manufacturing Light District, M-1, located on 17401 Triton Drive, City of Schertz, Guadalupe County, Texas, also known as Tri-County Business Park 2, Lot 18, Block 2, and this is our final reading. Council, is there any of these items need to be pulled for separate action? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 4?
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Dalla, second by Councilmember Hayward. Council, any other comments? If none, I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
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 We have 7 ayes, no objections, motion passes. We'll continue with the roll call confirmation. Our City Secretary, Brenda Dennis, will provide the roll call vote confirmation.
Yes, for consent agenda items 1 through 4, a motion was made by Councilmember Dalla, seconded by Councilmember Hayward. Mayor Pro Tem Davis, Councilmember Scott, Larson, Dalla, Scagliola, Hayward, Brown voted yes. No one voted no. Motion passed.
We'll proceed with requests and announcements. Announcements by our city manager.
I have nothing further tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Council, is there any items that need to be placed on the future agenda items?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Dalla.
Dr. Scagliola has something.
Okay, I don't need it to be an agenda item, just a request for information. I have it written down here. I'd like to know the owners of the lots between Northcliffe Sewage Station and the homestead, who owns the properties, and whether or not anybody has submitted plans in the development area. And I've got it written down for the city manager.
Okay. Any others? No. Okay. We'll go straight to announcements by council members. Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Nothing, sir.
Councilmember Scott.
Nothing. Right now, not at this time.
Councilmember Larson.
Nothing.
Councilmember Dalla.
I've got a couple things. Last week, of course, we had our CBLGC meeting. On the Friday, went to the Blackjack ribbon cutting there. Got to meet Tim Duncan. It's kind of a neat little business he's got going there. Friday evening was an interesting part of the week. I did a ride-along with Schertz PD. Was with him for about 6 hours. First call out the gate, the guy went to jail. 4 domestic violence calls and 1 traffic citation. So action-packed evening. And Saturday went to the Health and Wellness Fair, and today helped out with the Student Mayor Council.
Okay. Councilmember Scagliola.
Yeah, I want to give a special thanks to the chamber for hosting that Health and Wellness Fair. It was very well attended. That's all I have, sir.
Okay. Councilmember Hayward.
Yes, I went to the TCMA King Cole training. It's to learn what I went with the mindset of learning what our city manager goes through and how they run the city. It was a 2-day event, and it was a wealth of knowledge for me. I also did the joint meeting on Friday evening with the city, Cibolo, and the board meeting with the CBLGCC. And then helping out today with the student mayor council event. It was worth doing and having a lot of fun with that. That is all.
Okay. Councilmember Brown.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Okay. Just a couple of things from, I attended the Greater Bear County Council of Cities. I had an interesting conversation on several topics. The ribbon cutting for Blackjack Speed Shop. Interesting that, I always look forward to ribbon cuttings. It shows progress in our city. Love it. Also, the Schertz Selma Cibolo Chamber of Commerce Health and Wellness Fair, and also enjoyed the Student and Mayor council for the day, that was also a great opportunity to meet those young individuals. The time is now 6:42. We stand adjourned.